Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever this message may find you. My name is More Than Faith, also known as More Than a Conqueror. Today, I would like to share with you a little bit about myself. You have to forgive me, I have a little stutter sometimes, but this is all natural. I was born and raised in the city of Detroit, my dad being a fireman and my mother being a homemaker. I had two sisters. We went to elementary schools there in Detroit. I graduated from the great Osborne High School. From there, I've been to many different collegiate institutions with no degree, which will become a pivotal point later on in different series. And I'll start by saying, I'll give you a little bit of the end now. I've created some things that are fascinating out of this world that will help the populations of Earth that I'll be needing help with. But we'll get into that later. Just a little bit about me. It's going to be pretty expansive, but in high school, I started working with adolescents and youth. I graduated in 1991, like I said, from Osborne High School. I met a gentleman who became my mentor. His name was Alan Martin. He took me under his wing, and he was connected to an organization called SOSAD, Sarah Sons and Daughters, which Clementine Barfield was the CEO of the company at that time. What had happened, how the company formed, she had lost a couple sons due to gang violence. And that was something that was always I had a soft spot in my heart for the gang violence and violence that was in the city of Detroit. Hearing all the stories from my dad about when he came home from fires and whatnot, and accidents and shootings and whatnot, he would tell me the stories. So I developed a sense of love for the people there in the city. So long story short, I joined this organization with my mentor, going out to different vigils and eventually counseling victims of homicides. That means when a mother had lost a child or a sibling had lost a child, I was trained at that time to counsel from a empathetic standpoint to the victims. It was fascinating. I had learned so much in those arenas, and working with the people. I was asked to join the board of directors at the age of 17 of the organization. From there, I've worked for Wayne County commissioners, some senators. I've met some fascinating people with the Supreme Courts there in the state of Michigan. And eventually, I announced my candidacy for city council there in Detroit. And I had a pretty good following. I was pushed by the great Clementine Barfield to seek a candidacy because I had a passion and a heart for the city of Detroit. I felt at the time that I didn't have the greatest educational background behind me, so it gave me some intrepidation about doing it. I usually don't talk about that, but I'm being transparent now because God has really moved in my life to remove all those doubts, to remove all those fears, so that I can lift him up and actually talk about what I've been through to help other people along the same path that I may have walked, or they may walk in a path that's more, has more tribulation than what I've experienced. That's a really interesting question. I have fond memories of being in third grade and hearing God's voice through a dream. And in the dream, it was a repetitive dream. In the dream, he said, I have something that I want you to do, that I need you to do, and only you can do it. And he gave me a vision while he was talking to me of a ball being thrown in slow motion. And he said, I want you to watch the ball. And it was a long hallway, and the ball had been thrown from him, and it was going in slow motion down the hall. He said, now I know that you're going to want to rush and do the things that you want to do for me, but it's going to be incrementally, and it's going to happen, but you have to go with it. At the end, I have a great work for you to do. And he would show me that dream as a child again and again, and I would hear his voice again and again and again. Actually, no, it wasn't. My father's stories was just icing on the cake. It was part of the ingredients for the icing on the cake. I had a passion for working with people as a ministry when I was probably 5 years old. I would always go to church and sing with the choir and sit in the deacon section with my dad and see the people coming to church needing a healing. And, I used to pray for my pastor all the time. I remember finally walking out of the church every Sunday and out of Bible study saying, "Hey, Pastor, I'm praying for you," as a little kid. And that grew in me a passion for people. Many, many different stories about, helping people and had brought me to where I am now. I've worked for many different organizations, hospitals and whatnot with adolescents, children and adolescents. They had psychological issues that brought me to the forefront of building my portfolio for loving people, for caring for people. So it's been a long walk, a long journey in me loving people. That's a really good question. A really good question. I find myself wavering in faith. I'm not one of those persons that can say, look, I'm always strong in my faith and I never waver. My faith crumbles sometimes. I've had things happen to me that shook my faith. But the word says that I just need a little morsel, a mustard seed of faith. The Bible affirms that God has given man a measure of faith, something that God gives to you, you can't throw away, or at least I can't throw it away. And knowing that he's given me a measure of faith has built and continuously built, even though my faith has shaken. It's a growing. The whole thing with the mustard seed is that it's a seed. If you plant seeds in good soil, you'll reap. And it's something that has been planted in me with that affirmation from God that he's giving me a measure of it, and it sparks and it grows. I think one of the biggest conceptions that people have in general about people who have they're on the spectrum of autism or may be on that spectrum and have ADHD, a combination psychological or what's deemed as a disability. They tend to think that they're what's called dumb or stupid in layman terms, which is far from the truth. Working in the field of psychology, I've met a myriad of savants, but I didn't recognize that I was a savant until later on in life. But that would be the biggest misconception, to think that I'm beneath my intelligence or beneath someone else's intelligence. It's a large mistake. If I had any superpower, what would it be and why? I think the greatest superpower that I could ever possess would to hear God's voice and then executing what he told me to do his will. Additionally, to go along with that superpower, to have the kingdom of God exist in me, I think goes hand in hand with that superpower. My hope and my prayer for this series of YouTube videos is, one, to shed light on what's known as my ops. Two, to shed light on the abilities that people with ADHD have, change society's viewpoint of what that is. The most important thing is to lift Christ. He says in his word, if I be lifted up, I'll draw all men to me. And that's the main theme of my series of videos, is to lift Christ, to be a fisherman of men, a fisherman of souls, to build the kingdom, to advance the kingdom. That would be my whole goal. Now, I want you all to think and to pray, to have hope for and remember me and call my name in your prayers. I want you to write in. Talk about your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, things that have stopped you. Each one reach one, each one teach one. We can do this together. Together, not apart. Here and now.